Hello and welcome to Course Like Your Car Brochure channel, and in today's episode we're going to be continuing our look at Austin Rover cars for late 1984. Today's episode, the Maestro. Welcome back, and if you're new to Course Like, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube, looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars, car brochures, looking back at cars gone by, it's all really about the memories, then please consider subscribing. It is all completely free. Now, we've been doing a bit of a series for these Austin Rover cars. Yeah, cat scratching. Where was I? Oh yes, talking about Austin Rover. We've been looking at this brochure for Austin Rover late 84, in fact it's December 84, so really the 1985 model year. We've been going through this brochure one at a time. We're up to Maestro at the moment, so the Maestro range, a bit like the Metro range, is quite a big range, so I better throw that on the board there, and let's have a look at this range. Quick look at the front cover there, rather a nice front cover actually. Austin Rover cars. Main image is the Metro, because you know, like the Mark II Metro out now, so that's kind of like your featured car, which we've already looked at. And don't worry if you've missed any of the episodes so far, I'll do a link at the end to all the models as we make them. But we should get on with this. So let's just turn first to Rover news. So obviously it's going to be mainly talking about the Metro again, but there is a little bit on the Maestro, and I'm trying to pick the relevant bits for the relevant car we're looking at each week. So we'll have a quick read of what the news is for Maestro. It's telling us now for 1985 model year, the Maestro has 3 new models and upgraded specifications throughout. Following a year of substantial developments in the 5-door Austin Maestro range, which includes the new S series 1.6 litre engine, the 1985 lineup is yet more comprehensive and attractive. New 1.3 HL and 1.6 HL models broaden the choice. The 1.3 HLE model now has the 4+E transmission, and normal 5-speed gearboxes become optional on the 1.3L, 1.3 HL, standard on all 1.6 models. An exciting new flagship model for the Maestro range is the 2-litre fuel-injected MG Maestro, offering truly scintillating performance, punching up to 60 miles per hour in well under 9 seconds and soaring effortlessly onto 115 miles per hour were allowed. Now this is, like I said, the 1985 model year. A 0 to 60 under 9 seconds, I think is pretty quick in them times actually. So I always think the MG Maestro was always a very much underrated car, when really it was an amazing piece of engineering. In addition to the 3 new models, the entire Maestro range gains substantial extra equipment and luxury features to ensure that it remains the leading medium-sized hatchback saloon. See pages 33 to 50, and it starts talking about the car-derived vans, which are going to be available in a brochure that isn't this, because this is all passenger vehicles. Anyway, let's move to the Maestro range. So as we turn to that page, we see it describes the Austin Maestro as a highly advanced range of cars, showing the flagship model, the MG, but of course being the flagship model, that's not certainly going to be the last model we look at today. So let's have a look at how the range starts. Now there is quite a few models in the range, and they kind of like lump the base models all together. So the 1.3 not even an L, that poverty model, and then we've got a 1.3L and a 1.6L. Now I know there's going to be lots of criticism for the Maestro. You know, people are going to tell it's a terrible car, but I don't think it really was. In fact, when it was first launched, and it was launched in March 1983 incidentally, in the June edition of which they described it as a roomy, comfortable and nice to drive, and said If you are considering buying one now, our advice, based on the first impressions, is go ahead. And then in January 1984, they concluded, in comparison with opposition of a similarly priced and body size, the Maestro has a clear advantage on room for passengers, with few cars equaling it for comfort, either in the front or back. And then they also started saying, they also consider it to be a serious rival to higher segments, Vauxhall Cavaliers, Ford Sierras. I think they went a little bit further. But what they're trying to say is, for the range, for that particular segment of car, it was a large car, and it did have an advantage of being, roomy in the back, where other models of the same size were a little bit more cramped. And that certainly is something, the general public at the time would have bought it for. Now obviously this is before things like reliability, build quality come into it, so it's always interesting to see how it's described at the start of a car, purely because they're just looking at it as a car, a brand new vehicle, and certainly at that time it was well respected. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the text, and then we'll come back to some of these images for the more basic spec models. It tells us even greater value for money and the finest package of product features in the budget medium hatchback class. That's the Austin Maestro 1.3, so that's not even the L, so the real stripped down version then. You know me, I quite like these stripped down versions because they're always a little bit weird. But anyway, it says, especially as now it has fully trimmed doors. Whoa! What was it like before it got fully trimmed doors? It must have been horrendous. The armrests and door bins, which previously started with the L specification, as well as a digital clock and reclining seats. All this in addition to the passenger door mirror, front seat head restraints, rear parcel shelf, and LWMW push button. Radio with twin speakers and a lidded glove box. So actually, when you compare that to Ford, I mean, it wasn't too bad for a base model actually. Anyway, it goes on to tell us the airy interior is delightfully roomy with panoramic all-round vision, cloth trim comfort for 5. A double folding rear seat creates a capacious cargo space, accessible with notable ease via the wide deep tailgate. And that is that base model radio incidentally, but not too long ago when to get a radio in a car was kind of like unheard of. Anyway, lively performance comes with the 68 bhp 1.3 litre engine equipped with advanced microprocessor, controlling carburation for high efficiency and economy. Contributing to the Maestro's economy, 50.8 mpg at 56 mph, is a smoothly contoured body design and design award-winning Lucas homofocal halogen headlamps, which I think was a little bit unique to the Maestro actually, allowing a low bonnet line, flush front and rear glazing, and gutter-free construction for low drag. As on all Maestros, the 1.3 offers the money-saving convenience of 12,000 mile or annual service intervals. Now, moving up the range, the 1.3L offers an LWMW push-button radio with stereo cassette player. Not bad for the L. A remote control driver's door mirror, rear wash wipe. The interior has been further improved by the addition of a carpeted rear parcel shelf and cloth door casings. Moulded body colour bumpers units enhance the smooth lines of the car, as well as further reducing aerodynamic drag and boosting the 56 mph economy figure to 52.5. Inside, the L incorporates the famous 60-40 split folding rear seats for total adaptability, plus stepless reclining front seats and a cigar lighter. All features that add to the high amenity level of Maestro motoring. The 1.6L boasts the S-Series 1.6 litre engine, see introduction, and its enhanced power, 85 bhp, and added refinements for even more sparkling and enjoyable performance. By dint of combining the benefits of electronic fueling control and programmed ignition, the larger engine Maestro is remarkably economical. With a 5-speed gearbox now standard, the 56 mph figure rises to 53.3 when related to acceleration of 0 to 60 in 10.5 seconds and 104 mph top speed, which I think is quite reasonable. The remarkable capabilities of the 1.6L will be readily appreciated. Like the 1.3L, the 1.6L has radio stereo cassette player as standard. To complement the extra performance, a front anti-roll bar is fitted, along with larger section tyres on different style wheels. Optional extras for the 1.3, a rear wash wipe and stereo radio cassette player, standard on the 1.3L and 1.6, may be specified. The 1.3L and 1.6 may be ordered with a slide and tilt sunroof, tinted glass and 2 or 3 band radio stereo cassette player with electronic tune, and the 1.3L with a 5-speed gearbox. All 3 models available with rear seat belts and black or clear coat metallic paint finishes. Interesting. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the images. The seats of the L, the instrument panel of the L, which I actually always quite like the dashboard. Yeah, a bit plasticky you could argue, but I always thought it was an interesting place. Although I must admit I've never actually driven a Maestro or even been in one actually. I don't even know anybody who had one at the time, even though they were everywhere. Anyway, rear seats of the L with that split fold. Doesn't actually tell me what the spec this is, but it must be the L. We can certainly see that rear wiper on the back there. Anyway, let's move up the range. So next models up are the HL, which makes sense, or 1.3 HL, 1.6 HL. If you remember the Metros, they kind of like skipped the HL and went straight to a HLE, but it makes more sense now that we've got a HL for the Maestro. I always thought the HL was quite a nice spec actually, without spending too much. But we'll have a look at some of the text and then we'll look at some of the images. I was introducing 2 new models to the Maestro range, the 1.3 HL and 1.6 HL, characterised by superior levels of equipment. The 1.3 HL has been introduced to meet the needs of those motorists looking for higher levels of equipment, combined with the smaller A+ power unit. The Maestro owners will be attracted by a whole host of features, from the durable luxury of the cloth-trimmed moonstripe tweed seats, including fully adjustable head restraints, to the practical benefits afforded by the tachometer, remote passenger door mirror, tinted glass and dipping mirror. In addition to these features, which are shared with the 1.6 HL, both models are fitted with increased sound insulation. Economy has not been forgotten, and then it starts talking about the fuel economy figures again. Both the 1.3 HL and 1.6 HL feature a full-length bodyside moulding and styled steel wheels, different from the HL. But so basically it's saying, it's got a different wheels, so it looks different from the L basically. And then optional extras. For those customers who wish to add to their already extensive list of standard features, the following options can be specified: 5-speed gearbox for the 1.3, 13-inch alloy wheels, central door locking, electric front windows, 2 or 3 bandit electric radio stereo cassette player, slide or tilt sunroof, rear seat belts, and then the colour choices again like the L. So you could really spec it up to be quite the nice car. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the images. Look at the instruments there. I see that little Austin badge on the steering wheels, isn't it? A little bit of a look at the instruments there. We've now got that rev counter. Now got remote control passenger door mirrors, a better radio. Seats now look far nicer. Door cars look very nice actually, and even the headrests look far better, don't they? And a look at the back, that split fold seat. And then main images then is a 1.6 HL in a rather nice shade of blue. I love that metallic blue of this time. I think I've said that before. Really attractive colour. Suits the standard model Maestros, I think. They look really good in this one. Look at them different wheels. The nice clear indicators, making it look quite modern for its time. I always love this silver grille they used to put on them as well. We've also got these rubbing strips to protect those doors against supermarket bumps. Actually, the wheels do look exactly the same as the L, don't they? And even the L's got the rubbing strip on, but if we do go to the base model, they are certainly a much cheaper steel wheel and no rubbing strips down the edge. Next to it, the 1.3 HL, looking fabulous. I always really loved the rear lights. However, although those reversing lights look fantastic, they must have been extremely poor, you know, if you was reversing and actually needed some lights in the back there. But I always liked them all the same, even though I'm sure they were completely useless. Anyway, let's move to the next model. Anyway, let's carry on going up the range for the HLE. So yeah, a pretty comprehensive range of cars for the Maestro at this time. It says, proving conclusively that you don't have to sacrifice comfort for economy, this spacious, well-equipped Maestro 1.3 HLE can equal the fuel economy of a Mini with 60.5 miles per gallon at 56 miles per hour. It is quite simply the best in its class. So whenever, or in most cases, whenever Austin Rover adds that E, its E is for economy, so it's kind of like a economy thing, which you'll certainly talk about here. Moving down, it says the secret of its a great achievement lies in the special economy tuned version of the A Plus 1275cc engine, giving 64 bhp, mated with the 4+ ear gearbox for added flexibility in all modes of driving. The fourth gear is the top gear. The E ratio for economy is for overdrive, gear for open road cruising, and economy to gauge is fitted to assist the driver to drive economically. Always a well-equipped car, the 1.3 HLE. In its latest guise is even more luxurious, with a radio, stereo, cassette player, tweed seats, fully adjustable head restraints, new matching cloth door trims, passenger door mirror, dipping mirror and tinted glass. As before, the HLE features the internal adjustment for the driver's door mirror, a digital clock, soft feel steering wheel and raised pile carpet. A bodyside moulding has been added for extra protection, and the rear strakes don't just look good, they lend even greater economy to the car. Capable of brisk, comfortable travel over long distances at low cost, the HLE has the convenience of a large 11-gallon fuel tank, as well as the other strong attractions of the Maestro concept, the versatile load carrying arrangement, that superb all-round vision and the crisp, enjoyable handling. So optional extras for even greater enjoyment of the 1.3 HLE specify the slide and tilt sunroof to enhance the smart, stylish appearance. Choose either black or clear coat metallic paint finishes. Also available are rear seat belts, central locking, electric front windows, 13-inch alloy wheels and 2 or 3 band electronic in-car entertainment. Let's have a look at some of the images. I look at that interior, and like I say, I always like the design of the interior. I don't know if the build quality was that good or the plastics were that high quality, but I always like the design of it at least. We've got this economy gauge like it was talking about before for the E model. A look at the seat and door card fabric, and again the split seats are featured as well. The main image is an example in silver, and if we look at the back, it's got these strakes around the hatch there. Tells us it's good for economy, but I agree, I think they look good, and I always quite like the look of these on Maestros actually. Anyway, let's turn the page and see how the range continues. We get a model just called the Maestro Automatic. Again, like the Metro, I don't really understand why they had to have a separate model called the Automatic. Tells us specification is identical to the 1.6 HL. We'll have a look at some of the images though. So there is the dash, what the auto lever looked like, the seats, although it's quite nice actually just to see them in a different colour. The radio there and the heat in the vents. The main image is in gold. A little bit of performance figures actually. Let's just have a look at that. gives you an idea that the auto is a bit slower there. So acceleration to 60 and 12.8, top speed of nearly 100, so certainly there is some sacrifice for getting the auto. Anyway, let's move up the range. The range continues with another HL model, this time the HLS. So let's have a look at this one. Oh, with the 1.6 HLS, already a firm favourite, the Maestro range moves even further up market because now that superb specification is enhanced still further with fully adjustable cloth trim head restraints, remote control passenger door mirror, rear centre armrest, electric front windows and central door locking. With the S series engine under the bonnet, the 1.6 HL is a lively and effortless performer, 0 to 60 10.5 seconds, 53.3 miles per gallon at 56 miles an hour. Identified externally by the bright finished door handles and the new bright bumper body side moulding inserts, the HLS is handsomely appointed inside with new chalk striped velvet seat facings and door casings. In-car entertainment comes now from an electronic 2-band radio stereo cassette player. It all adds up to a superb all-rounder, enjoyable to drive over any distance and with any of the wide permutations of passenger or cargo loads made possible by those ingenious folding rear seats. With the stable, comfortable ride provided by Maestro's superbly tuned suspension system and well-shaped seating front and rear, every journey is a delight. Low running costs are yet another major bonus on such a capable and desirable car, aided by a notable low insurance group of 3. So options available are the 13-inch alloy wheels, slide or tilt sunroof, black or metallic paint and automatic transmission. Also available are electronic instrumentation, electric 3-band in-car entertainment and rear seat belts. I do believe the HLS was kind of like the lowest model in the range that you could option that sort of like, you know, you always talked about the Maestro talking and them little commands. I think you could get it as an option on the HLS, which I think is why it's talking about electronic instrumentation. Yeah, I couldn't just resist just not looking to the back just to confirm that. So solid state instrumentation, digital speedometer with push button MPH kph conversion, and we'll have a look at that in a moment, the electronic one. It's showing it on the Vanden Plas. Vacuum fluorescent analog display for tachometer, fuel, water temperature, trip computer, linked to a 15-topic voice synthesis information warning system, instrument display brightness control. And it tells us at the end there that it's available as an option on the HLS. Next one up, the MG 2-litre EFI, you could have it, and then the last box, that black box, is telling us it was standard on the Vanden Plas, which is the model we'll come to in a moment. So sorry just for jumping to that, but I just wanted to confirm that before we moved on. But let's go back to the HLS. There's the HLS standard instrument panel. Like I say, you can have an electronic version, which we'll have a look at in a bit. Electric front windows, a look at those rear seats, which do look nice in those 2 different colours. 5-speed gearbox and this different radio stereo cassette. A look at those seats, and yeah, they do look a million times better. And a bit of a look at the HLS, the main image. The main image thing I used to like about it was these mirrors. Unfortunately it's on the crease, but this bright work on the mirror used to look really nice. Anyway, let's move on to the next model. So next model was kind of the model that you aspire to own, a bit like the Gear, the Austin Maestro Vanden Plas. And yes, I'm going to get all the, that's not how you say it, but I'm going to continue going to the Vanden Plas, I think, for the channel. I'm pretty sure they used to call it Vanden Plas at the time. Anyway, even though it is wrong, and I appreciate that's the wrong pronunciation. Anyway, let's have a look at the text, then we'll come back to some of these lovely images and nice little bits of wood. The luxury flagship of the Maestro range, the Vanden Plas model, fully combines an opulent specification with modern technology and practicality. The Vanden Plas is now even more the definitive luxurious medium hatchback, And in some ways, for this class of car, I kind of like think the Vanden Plas was a step above, or seemed more luxurious actually, to the gear version of an Escort, in my opinion anyway. So bright inserts on the radiator grille, bumper inserts and door mirror casings, together with the fine course line and VP motif and the special wheel covers, a bit like Ford, unfortunately not putting alloys on, identifying this prestigious version of the Maestro. But it is in the plush box velvet trimmed interior that the Vanden Plas is at the most enticing. Savour the superb comforts of the seating, now with Montego style adjustable head restraints and rich burr walnut veneered door cappings over the box velvet trim door casings. Experience the full equipment, which includes steel tilt sunroof, electric front windows and central door locking. Check out the advanced solid state instrumentation and trip computer and the famous voice synthesis unit. So that's what we was talking about, standard on the Vanden Plas, optional on the HLS and the MG version. And listen to the new 2-band electronic radio set cassette player with 4 speakers and balance control, giving a quality of sound to match the civilised environment of this classic car. All this unashamed indulgence in creature comforts has not, however, compromised the dynamic driving qualities of the Maestro, nor yet its economy and versatility. With an 85 bhp power unit, 5-speed box and taut responsive chassis design, the driver can relish the vigorous power delivery, 104 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 10.5 seconds, whilst appreciating the efficiency that allows a steady speed, 56 miles per hour economy of 53.3 miles per gallon, and those sumptuous rear seats still offer the ingenious 60/40 split fold facility to cope with unusual loads. Truly, this Vanden Plas is the ultimate luxury all-rounder. And it talks about the options, colour choices are options for black and metallic, and then we can alloy wheels, which I think would have been worth putting them on there, and an auto transmission. The only thing I kind of like think about with the Maestro Vanden Plas is we've now got the Rover 200, so what was the point of that if this is like the luxury version? You know what I mean? Austin Rover had this theme of their own cars kind of like competing against each other, I think. Anyway, what a lovely interior. Looks very nice for what is, you know, the type of car this is. And those lovely cappings. Overall an interesting seat, and certainly one that looks very nice. Then we get that sort of stereo cassette player. Of course now we get a sunroof, although it's a crank. A look at the mirror, but more importantly that lovely wood. The dash, you can see the electronic dash there. There's a better picture of it actually on the MG version, but you can certainly see that difference. And the main image, the wheel trims do look a little bit nicer than the others, but like I say, I think it should have had alloy wheels on there. Tells us what car. Maestro Vanden Plas recently given the What Car Family Car of the Year award. So this is the last model in the range, and we will have a quick look at the colours and then the price chart to see where these all fit in. But this is really the Maestro you probably really wanted. It does look something a little bit special actually, and was always kind of like one of the forgotten hot hatches, I thought. But the MG Maestro 2 litre EFI. So it tells us a practical family sports car in the modern idiom, and now with even more power. That's the new MG Maestro 2 litre EFI. There's no mistaking the sporty heritage of the snappy mover, from the low profile tyres on 14-inch alloy wheels with MG motifs on the centre, to the new rear anti-roll bar, from the aerodynamic front and rear spoilers to the new body coloured grille, door handles and mirrors. Every feature emphasises the crisp, efficient linings of this very special Maestro. Powered by the new 2 litre EFI, the MG has a new kind of responsiveness. It's an exciting, exhilarating car to drive with a delightful close ratio 5-speed gearbox that keeps the smooth revving engine right on the cam as it accelerates throughout the gears in a satisfying smooth surge of power. 60 mph is available in 8.5 seconds, which I think is quite good for the time. At the same time, superb stability and road holding, backed by powerful ventilated front disc brakes, makes full enjoyment of the performance a straightforward matter. In the true MG tradition, a major element in the appeal of the MG Maestro, of course, is its unique sports interior with beautifully shaped seats trimmed in marl decor fabric and velour borders and red accent piping. Other MG features include the new 3-spoke leather-bound steering wheel, moulded gear knob and gaiter, and red seat belts. Emphasising the advanced technology in the car are the optional vacuum fluorescent display, trip computer and voice synthesizer to complete an enviable specification. The latest MG Maestros have full adjustable head restraints, locking petrol cap, tinted glass with dipping rear view mirror and central door locking. So I've got options again: black or metallic paint, power steering, electric front windows, rear seat belts, tilt or slide sunroof, 2 or 3 band electronic in-car entertainment, and that instrument pack, which we'll kind of have a look at now, I think. So that's a better look at that. Very interesting for the time pack, and certainly a very 80s thing, isn't it, really? Looking to the future. Do love the steering wheel with that big red MG on there and the red stitching on the steering wheel. There is that voice synthesizer. A look at the 115 bhp electronic fuel injected power unit. Those strakes and that little bit of a hatch spoiler. Close look at the MG badge. Those seats, and I think the red on the seats and the door card and the red seat belts really help it actually lift that interior to look more sporty. And there we have a look at the car overall with the obviously red bumpers, very much an 80 thing, isn't it? That red little inserts in the bumpers to show sporty. Not only Ford was doing that, other manufacturers like to do that as well, and I love the wheels on these as well. And that kind of like concludes the range, so let's just have a quick look at the colour chart. So the Austin Rover colour chart, I've always said this, it's a beautiful range of colours. I always really like these, starting with Aaron White, Champagne Beige, Premier Yellow, and there I should say all these colours are available for the Maestro, apart from the Premier Yellow, and the MG had a more limited choice of colours, I'll say. But moving down, we've got Targa Red, Clove Brown, Eclipse Blue, Silver Leaf, Cashmere Gold and Oporto Red, Orplan Green Metallic, Zircon Blue Metallic and Moonraker Blue Metallic, which is a new colour. Zircon Blue Metallic I think was my favourite for the standard looking Maestros though. The Maestro range starts at 5,092 for that base model, not even an L, and if we just flick back to where the Metros ended, we're talking like a 1.3L 5-door for 5,100, so you can see why it was pretty much worth moving up to a Maestro from a Metro, in my opinion. Moves up the range there to a HLE, which was £6,095. Moving up to the spendier models, the 1.6L was 5,900. Your Vanden Plas, £7,256, so certainly not a cheap model, and pretty much the same price as the MG Maestro, actually £7,279. So even though I like the Vanden Plas, I think I would have gone for the MG, as it's pretty much the same price actually. Alloy wheels, £241. What else have we got on here? Let's see that digital instrumentation display for the HLS and MG 2-litre EFIs, £194. So plenty of options there. Just moving back though to the higher spec models, and that Vanden Plas being £7,256. Expensive really. And yes, these are only 213 models or 1.3s, but the 213 Vanden Plas Rover 200 was actually cheaper than the Maestro 1.6 Vanden Plas. So interesting that, isn't it? You're almost like, what's the point of that? But British Leyland, I always thought Ford was really clever with their pricing. I'm not sure I think the pricing on the Austin Rover cars were quite as intelligent though, but you know, some of them kind of overlap, and I don't know, sometimes there's not really clear distinctions. As I think the Ford pricing was always very clever. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I'm sure we'll come back to this price range in next week's episode when we look at the Montego, but that is today's Maestro. Let me know what you think, any memories of the Maestro and which model you would have picked from the range. But thank you so much for watching today. Many more episodes to come, and certainly next week we'll continue our Austin Rover story for December 1984. We'll end by saying please do take care. I'm going to pop a couple of boxes up on the screen in a moment, and they will be for other videos you can watch, as well as a link to previous episodes, and eventually all the episodes will be all in one place for people to have a look at. I'll end by saying please do consider liking and subscribing. It is all completely free, and certainly if you've enjoyed the episode, that is most appreciated. But we'll end by saying please do take care. We'll see you very soon. All the best and goodbye.